I know a lot of young people are going to be going out with people that are their boyfriends or girlfriends, whatever. They're going to be going out and they're going to find new relationships, and they're going to feel even more in love with this person, or you know, the adrenaline is going to get pumping even more. You know, now it's time for gifts and stuff like that. So I really wanted to put it out there. Now let's recap. I'm currently married to a wonderful man. I was married before to my abuser. I was 17 when I met this man, and the first time he ever laid a hand on me was probably 2 or so months after we met. And as I said before, when he hit me that day, and that was in public, I don't know how no one saw, or if he was that good, which he must have done it before. I don't know. I'm assuming he had done it before, that no one saw. And he hit me in the stomach. We were at the beach on one of those lifeguard stations, and you know, we're just chilling, hanging out. I don't know what I said. I don't know. It doesn't matter what you say, but I'm just saying, I don't know what I said that triggered this man to put his hands on me. Anyway, that was the first time. I was 17. I, you know, continued the relationship. He lived in Jamaica. I lived here. So he left a few months earlier, and then he came back when he actually came back a few days before I turned 18, because I was having my birthday party, and he came back a few days before. And when he came back, you know, he accused me of cheating on him and stuff like that. And you know, I was bawling. I wanted him to believe me and stuff like that. So you know, that was how that train wreck really started. The accusing, making me feel small, you know, compare me. He would compare me on TV with those young ladies, you know, that used to come on Maury, you know, the bad kids, and they having sex with 100 different men and stuff like that. He would do that, and it would make me feel so small. And I wanted to appease him. I wanted to feel, you know, to not let him think that way of me, because that was not me, and I really wanted him to believe me. And the other thing is, parents, when your kids are dating, my mother did not approve of the relationship. But after I turned 18, I mean, I was an adult. Technically, I was an adult right here, and in my heart, I was still a kid. You know, I was a child. But parents, if you don't approve of a relationship, don't nag your kids. Don't nag. Really just sit down, have a conversation. Like, it's either gonna hit home or it's not. But sit down, have a conversation with your daughter or with your son. If it's someone you don't approve of, just please do that. Don't become angry and enraged and, you know, just want to break it off, because that made me want to go to him more, because I wanted to prove my mother wrong. My mother didn't know that he was hitting me. She just knew that he was too old for me. That's her thing. And that he was going to be using me, and I was young, I didn't know anything, and I thought I knew everything. Anyway, when I turned 18, I moved out of my mother's house, and I went and I stayed in a house that I had no business staying in. I mean, it was not a good environment. You know, there was drugs and stuff like that, and it was just not a good environment. And there were people living there. It was like probably like 4 or 5 bedrooms, and every single bedroom was occupied by at least one person or a couple. Most of us that were living there were couples. He was not living there at the time, but he decided to come and stay because it was dangerous for me to be there by myself. It was more dangerous, in my opinion, after looking back, for him to be there with me, because he took advantage of that. I mean, he knew I didn't want to go back to my mother's house. I always said that I never want to go back to my mother's house. So he would use that against me. And every opportunity he got, he would hit me. And the last time he put his hands on me around that time, when I was 18, because, you know, we stayed there for about a year, I think we were going somewhere, and he said something to me, and I hissed my teeth. I did the, you know, and he didn't think that I should have done that, especially with, there was another female there with her around. Oh my God. He slapped me so hard in the face. So hard in the face. and I got so enraged. I think I was drinking a Malta or something, or someone was drinking, and I grabbed the bottle, or I was drinking and I grabbed the bottle and I threw it at him, and it almost hit him in the face. It hit him in the face, and then, you know, police would have been there. I would be the one going to jail because, you know, there's no physical evidence of him putting his hand on me. Anyway, after that point, he didn't put his hands on me for probably like 3 months because, you know, I guess he saw that I wasn't going to take it. You know, so what he started to do was started to emotionally abuse me at that point. He would tell me I didn't look good, or I can't cook. I mean, I remember one instance where there was another young lady living there with us, and she cooked something spicy, and he ate it. And when I would cook spicy, he would say you can't eat spicy food. And he ate the food and was like, oh my goodness, it tastes so good, da da da. And I was like, are you serious? Yeah, and those things he would do, you know, to get on my skin, you know, to make me feel small, to make me feel, you know, belittled. I mean, if we were in an argument, he would say, go home to your mother, little girl, and stuff like that. And I wanted to prove that I'm not a little girl, and he knew that I didn't want to go home, or go back to my mother's house, so he would say those things. And, you know, the next year we moved from where we were. We went to another city in New York, and, you know, we started over and stuff, and it just got worse. And let me tell you, it would only get worse. It took nothing for this man to put his hands on me. And I'm not going to get into detail. There are so many different abuses. I mean, when I lost my job, it took me about a month or like 2 months to get another job. But with those 2 months, this guy would be on my back. When are you going to get a job? When are you going to get a job? You know, and I'm like, all this time, before then, I was working, I was going to school. I think I finished high school and I enrolled in college. I was going to school at night. I was working early in the morning. I was working at McDonald's. Yes, early in the morning. I would get up like probably 5:30 and I would walk to McDonald's because I could walk to work. And then after that, about 5 or 6, I would take the bus and about 2 trains to get to Brooklyn. You know, it was just rough. So, you know, there are just so many different, as I was saying, types of abuses. I mean, that was the financial abuse because he was bringing the money in at that point, which most of the times I was the one bringing the money in. And then when I stopped, it just became so much harder. And he would try to embarrass me in front of people. I mean, there was just so many different things. And I'm doing this video, doing it over to let you know that there's no reason for a man or woman, but I'm specifically talking to young ladies, for a man to put his hands on you. With this whole Rihanna, Chris Brown thing, you know, some of the young ladies were like, she must have did something. No, there's no reason for anyone to put their hand on anyone. But there's especially no reason for a man to put his hand on a woman. There's just no reason whatsoever. I tell myself I've died too many times at this man's hand, and I've been revived by God, because his favorite thing to do was to choke me out, and he was stronger than I was. So, you know, he could get that hold, the handle. You know, I would fight back for the most, probably 80% of the times I would fight back. Sometimes I wouldn't, because I know when you fight back, it just gets worse. And I wouldn't call the cops. I called the police twice, and I told them that. One time I told him I slipped in the tub and I was bleeding from my nose when he actually had hit me. And yeah, and they were like, you want to go to the hospital? No, they didn't ask me, you know, are you being abused or whatever. And then there was this other time I went to the emergency room, and the lady asked me, and he was sitting right there. And no, I said, no, I slipped and I fell. It was just, you know, ongoing. It just kept on going. And then there was sexual abuse. I mean, sometimes you watch a show and the men are like, yeah, that's my wife and she has to da da da. No, I don't care if you're somebody's girlfriend or if you're their wife. You don't have to do anything. You don't. You're not obligated to do anything that you don't want to do or that you feel uncomfortable doing. Okay? So if someone is like, we can have sex tonight, and you say no, that's exactly what it's supposed to mean. The same thing it means to your husband is the same thing it should mean to, you know, somebody you're dating or whatever. It's the same thing. No means no. It's the same thing. Just getting that out there. Especially a Valentine's Day. You don't have to give anything up. Okay, it's just one lousy day. You don't have to give anything up.